Yeah, no, it's right. It's the 26th. Yeah, June the 26th. You should know this by now. That's right. We're going to be doing TV live from Commsverse, Mercedes World. Yeah, you got that? I got to go. I'm online. Sorry. Hey guys, welcome to Commsverse TV 2024. And this is our pre-event, and we've got some wonderful guests to talk to you as we start to talk through some of the sponsors that are going to be attending the event. What's that? When is it? It's 26th and 27th of June. I seem to be inundated with questions about when it's going to be. It's in the UK. It's at Mercedes World. Probably one of the best conference events that happen in our world around MS Teams and Microsoft 365. And you can have lots and lots of fun, but you can learn so much about MS Teams. So let's find out who we've got with us today. So here we go. As always, there we go. Marijn and Annouck and Lee Essex from Tango. How are you doing, guys?
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm all right. Annouck, fine.
Tired, but fine.
Oh, well, that's what you get with running a charity event when everybody else is working and staying up late, selling booze and stuff. I don't know. And it's all to do with work.
Somebody has to do it.
All part of the fun. That's good. All righty. So, Lee, welcome. This is your first Commsverse TV, I suppose?
First Commsverse TV, but not our first Commsverse, Steve. So, yeah, excited to be here and excited to be going back to Commsverse. As you say, a great venue.
Yeah. How many times have you guys done it?
Only last year. We entered the Microsoft market last year, and I hadn't been to the event or the venue. I mean, it's such a great event, well organized, the audience, the attendees, the sponsors are just fantastic. So we were keen to get involved and even more excited to go back. And I'm kind of a fan of F1, so being able to look at a Formula One car that's been stripped apart is just a bonus for me.
It is amazing, isn't it? Especially one that used to win so much as well. That was pretty cool. Not so good now, though, but there you are. It will get better, we all hope. So, yes, let's not get into Formula One because these guys know I'm fairly fanatical about it. So we could be here forever doing that. Yeah, I know.
Lee, maybe let me maybe interrupt and maybe already get way ahead. But you just said like last year was the first time because you just recently jumped into the Microsoft space. Where were you, or what were you doing before that as a company?
So Tango's what we refer to as a mobile service provider. Essentially, if you look at the business model, we're what people will refer to as an MVNO, a virtual mobile operator. So if you break that down,
like a Vodafone, but without the shops.
Well, it's like a Vodafone. Yeah, we do similar things to Vodafone. So we have our own SIMs, we have our own network, we run our own core network. What we don't do like Vodafone is we have masts all over the country and spectrum. They cost billions of dollars to buy, billions of pounds to buy. So what we do is we actually rent space from existing mobile providers. So we use the existing tower infrastructure, Vodafone or, EE, or we use a different partner in each country. So essentially, we have the ability to be a global mobile service provider. We operate the core, so we control all of the traffic, the voice, the messaging, and the data. We simply do a deal with each mobile operator to use their spectrum and their towers in each country. But yeah, for the simplest thing, we are a mobile provider, a mobile operator.
Cool. So it's a bit like an independent whiskey bottler then.
Yes, on a global basis.
That's all right. Marijn and I are big into whiskey, so yeah, we like our independent bottlers, which is pretty cool. But of course, buying minutes has been around since day one, hasn't it? In terms of these networks, so it's nice that you can take it and extend it.
It's nothing new. The operating model of being an MVNO is nothing new. We've taken it and we've transformed the market with what we do with it. Rather than just having a standalone mobile offering, the secret sauce that Tango bring is that we have the ability to integrate those services into core UC platforms. And we've been doing that for a number of years. Historically, we would have worked with communication service providers, CSPs, who were doing hosted telephony on something like a Broadsoft or an Avaya platform. And we've been providing those services regionally for a number of years and doing it very well, very successfully. Obviously, the landscape for unified communications has changed now. We've got global players like Microsoft who offer Microsoft Teams Phone on a global basis. It's not regional. We've got partners like Cisco with WebEx calling on a global basis. So buying and selling minutes is nothing new, but actually what you do with those minutes is the new thing that we bring to the party.
You were talking about changing. We all know life has changed because of Corona and all of that. How is that impacted on you guys as a business?
Well, from us, it really brought home the model that we were putting out there, Annouck. What we saw as part of the pandemic was everybody rushed to work from home. So everybody needed a centralized cloud-based solution to do that. And this is where the cloud solutions, the Microsofts and the Cisco really started to get market traction. Everybody all of a sudden needed things that they could turn on their scale. And, the big boys are out there. They had the ability to respond to that, service that market very, very well. But what we also saw as part of the pandemic, but also as we came out of the pandemic was people were, whilst they were at home, working from home, it was great because they were all attached to their Wi-Fi and they had a great signal. And when you're using cloud services, that's fantastic. Being on the Wi-Fi is great. But as soon as you step out of that, what are you reliant on? You're reliant on the mobile network. So you saw people who were already using their favored device, which is their mobile phone for communications, kind of start to rely on cloud services. But as we started to emerge from the pandemic and people started to go outside of their home offices, all of a sudden they were very, very reliant on their mobile phone. And that's where Tango was able to step in and say, hey guys, you're used to making and receiving calls using a client on your laptop, but what you want to do now is use the mobile phone. And people will say, well, Lee, you can get a Teams app on your phone for making and receiving a call. What people actually like to do for a number of reasons is just use their standard mobile service. So make and receive a call using their native dialer. And they like that for a few reasons. Number one, it's kind of the way people make and receive calls. It's nice and easy. I go into my contacts, I press Steve and he called you. I don't want to open another app and press a button.
It's always good to be on somebody else's phone. I love that. Especially, I'm a button on your phone, all good.
That's it. And it's like, but also when you look at the technology behind that, apps do rely on data. And whilst mobile data with 4G and 5G, and we're even talking about 6G now, is more reliable and more widespread, it's still a data session. So if I want to make what I refer to as a business class call, I want to use the native mobile network, because the native mobile network will always see a voice call as a priority call over a data session. So I know if I call you on my native mobile, I'm going to get the very best quality of service from the mobile network. If I call you on an app, it could be anybody's app, a Teams app or a WebEx app or anybody else's app. It's kind of best efforts. And I think we've all had experiences of making and receiving calls on apps. They're a little bit flaky. So if we want the best service, which we do when we're making a call, because you want to have the best call, the best way to do that is using the native dialer. And that's where Tango steps in. We kind of bridge that gap. And as we came out of the pandemic, that's what people returned to. They turned to what they liked and what they knew, and that was their mobile phone for making and receiving calls.
So what's the thing that Tango then does? So I'm gonna call Steve and I'm gonna use my mobile phone. Is it then going to connect to Teams and then give Steve a Teams call, or what's happening?
Exactly that, Marijn. You get you selling our solution. So what we do, hence the name Extend.
Button, Marijn. That button is me, and I don't care where I am at my end. It just connects.
You're a button. That's what I'm getting.
I'm a button.
From this
that's for definite.
You're a button. Yes.
Yeah.
So when you've got Teams phone set up, you have a profile, you're in a user. So you have a telephone number and you have the ability to make and receive calls. So what Tango does is, from our eSIM, which you load onto a mobile phone, and we can talk about eSIMs in a minute. So, but essentially, yeah, I phone that up, I make a call, and the call goes actually into Teams. So whatever my profile says in Teams when I'm making a call out is exactly the same with Tango Extend. So if I call Steve, it's actually, we get the call to Teams, and then Teams makes the call out using the Teams identity. And that's the important thing. It's the Teams identity that you're using on our service. So from a business point of view, you only need one number. You don't need two numbers. All of a sudden, you've got to the point where it's one number you can give out on your business card. And likewise, when somebody calls you on that number, the call goes into Teams. And if I'm sat there at my desk, my Teams client may light up and say, you've got a call. But my Tango Extend SIM will light up as well and say, you've got a call. And I can answer the call on each one. But the key thing is that the call's going via Teams. So from an administration point of view, that profile is administrated and managed by the Teams administrator. And importantly, as the calls are going through Teams, we can start to overlay additional services. So all of a sudden, I can make and receive a call on my native mobile, but the call's being recorded in Teams. So for compliance purposes, as we've all heard, that call can be recorded. As we get into the new world of let's get AI in there quickly, you can also overlay AI services. So very quickly, you've got to the point where the services that you were using on your fixed line, Teams phone, are now being overlaid onto the mobile services via Tango Extend.
Kind of too good to be true, isn't it?
It's kind of cool.
It's very cool, yeah.
I'm going to think about this every time I connect to a phone, a Teams call when I'm on my car, and I remember the poor quality as it plods along as I drive through a poor area. Because you are right. I mean, the data does drop out because it's really designed to be less real time than a voice call. But as a provider of minutes, and it's just a question in my mind, I'm guessing you're paying for high quality service, because generally if I was Orange or somebody else or Vodafone, I would want my calls to go through faster than anybody else that's just buying minutes from me in bulk. And I know in the early days there was always a problem with those kind of priorities. So I'm guessing you're managing your own quality throughout the voice networks.
Well, we manage your quality right through the end, but the agreements we have moved on from days ago where
yeah,
the example you gave was Orange will give the priority to their traffic. It doesn't happen anymore. It's a level playing field. A call is a call and a data session is a data session. But the key thing is, we get the same high quality that's, again, using that experience that an Orange user would. Just because we're buying minutes on a wholesale basis doesn't mean that we're getting a second-class service. It's the same first-class service.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Actually, I think most of us are sitting there going, wow, never thought about this. Because it's not something, I mean, we're
already.
I mean, it's not something that we get over here in Belgium very often. We're all sitting here in Belgium. It's where home is for us. But it's not, I have heard of it in the UK when I was in the UK. Certainly was the way that they did it. And I know that Belgium's generally changing that way, because we're going the UK's electricity model. We're going to have one provider of our data services, and then different suppliers will buy into it. So I'm guessing that model has been taken over as the default way of working anyway.
Well, here's one of the cool things about the service that we used to. Belgium coming to a country near you very soon. So at the moment, we operate our service in 4 countries. We do it in the UK, the US, France, and Sweden. By the end of this month, next month, by the end of this quarter, we're adding another 10 countries to that. Wow. And one of those is Belgium. So a lot of those across Europe, but we're also looking at North America and South America as well. So we're offering the service where you can take your local number, so your number that you get in Teams in Belgium, and you can move it to a mobile service in Belgium. But one of the really cool things about our service is if you're in one of our countries, you can roam to another country, and we won't charge you roaming charges. And in fact, what we've decided to do, when the UK left the EU, we lost a lot of benefits. And, you know, as a UK-based user, if I had my personal mobile service, I used to be able to roam around the EU and not get mobile charges. You know, we've left the EU now, so when I roam, I get mobile charges. But Tango's got its own destiny, so we've decided to keep that. So we're letting users who are based in the UK or Belgium or the US roam right around Europe as much as they like in a total of 39 countries, and they're never going to get charged roaming charges. We call that global pass because it allows people to roam. So it gets to the point now from a business point of view that I can give my users an extend service, and I know it's going to be a fixed cost per subscriber per month. So from a budgeting point of view, it makes it really easy. I know I'm not going to get bill shock, and I know my users are going to get the very best service in 39 countries without any overage charges.
I love that word, bill shock. That's pretty cool. So what kind of users are your main audience? Is that, do I have to think about managers? Do I have to think about salespeople who are on the road all day? Or are we also talking about, for example, technicians or frontline people working in a whatever?
I think the short answer to that is, Marijn, that it fits most use cases. You know, anybody who wants to make and receive calls using their Teams identity, but using on, you know, regularly, is a good use case. We talk a lot about frontline workers, and there's a reason for that. If you look at the frontline workers, and we did a very large research project with Cabell last year, based in the US and across Europe, and we specifically looked at frontline workers, and we had an extensive survey that spoke to frontline workers and IT managers and C-suite. What we found was that frontline workers typically are excluded, for whatever reason, from centralized communications. So, you know, if my organization is rolling out Teams Phone, about 40% of the users are typically frontline workers. And a frontline worker may be somebody who works in retail, who works in a shop. It may be somebody who's delivering. It may be a service engineer. But typically they're excluded because it's, well, actually, they need to make and receive a call. They can use their own personal mobile phone. And that's not just right, because from a number of reasons, you don't want to use your personal mobile phone, because if I use my personal mobile phone, that means that people are getting my personal number. And that's a bad experience for me. You know, I don't want people calling me when I'm on holiday, or, you know, in the evenings, or when I'm out with the family. And my business doesn't want people calling me. They want people to make a call to my business, so the businesses that come in. So frontline workers have been excluded, really. And what we found was, by doing the survey, was that I think it was 82% of frontline workers said that if they've got the appropriate tools to do their jobs, their productivity goes up. And then we spoke to the C-suite, and they recognized that productivity has an immediate effect on their bottom line. So, you know, if you've got productive employees, you're making more money, but you're not giving the employees the right tools to be productive. So bringing the frontline workers into that central communications is a big movement at the moment. And you've seen this from Microsoft. They reduced the cost of their Teams Phone license for frontline workers by 50% several months ago. They really see a market out there for bringing frontline workers in. So we've got a lot of traction with frontline workers, you know, people out in the field who just want to use their mobile phone. And being out in the field, they are reliant on the mobile network, and they want to have that quality call. As you said, Steve, data sessions drop as you move around, particularly on the motor network, but you'll always pretty much be able to make and receive a good quality, solid call. But then you look at executives, knowledge workers. You know, these are the people who make and receive calls on a regular basis. And again, they want to do it on the device that they know and love, and they rely on, their mobile phone, and they want to do it in a familiar way, i.e. they just want to make a recall. They don't want to open a different app up every time they make a call. So frontline workers, I say, is a big use case for us. Knowledge workers, executives, people on the road. We're also seeing a huge influx of inquiries with regards to DECT replacement. Typically, DECT has been quite expensive to roll out, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Mobile networks with 5G in-building coverage is getting better. Larger organizations are actually rolling out private mobile networks. So they're looking towards the mobile providers to give them DECT replacements. So, people who are on a manufacturing plant, they need communications. Typically, as an IT manager, I would have had to roll out a decked infrastructure, hugely expensive to roll out, hugely expensive to maintain. Now, all of a sudden, I can roll out either private 5G or with 5G on better spectrums. The mobile signal across that manufacturing plant is very good. So I can give my employees a mobile endpoint.
How is the eSIM involved in all of this?
I love eSIM, and why wouldn't you like eSIM? Traditionally, we've all shipped these little credit card sized bits of plastic around to get a SIM on it, and they've got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller over the years. It used to be a full credit size, now we snap a little bit out. But at the end of the day, we're still shipping bits of plastic around the world, and it's not good for logistics, it's not good for procurement, and it's really bad for the environment. eSIM is brilliant. Most phones now support eSIM, so I think since the iPhone 10, it's supported eSIM. And a lot of people don't realize that eSIM's kind of sitting there. And eSIM's so prevalent that the latest iPhone that Apple released in the US, the iPhone 15, is pure eSIM. You can't physically slot a SIM into it now. But it's great. It's essentially, I don't know whether you put an eSIM on there, but you get a QR code, you point your camera at it, and you click install. And the camera recognizes it's an eSIM, the phone recognizes it's an eSIM, and over the air, it downloads the eSIM onto the phone. So all of a sudden, you've gone from the point from having to ship a bit of plastic around the world to insert it in your phone, to pointing your phone at a QR code, and 2 minutes later, I'm up and running, I'm making and receiving calls using my Teams phone identity. It's a really cool process. And majority of
awesome
phones
because
now, sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I say the majority of phones now will allow you to support dual lines. So I'm now in a position where I can bring my own phone to work. I can keep my personal identity in it. I can add a Teams phone, extend eSIM, and I've got 2 lines on my phone. So if I make a call, I can say, I want to make a call to my wife using my personal line. If I want to make a call to you, Marijn, I'll say, use my business line. And the phone remembers that. So next time I call you, it uses my business line. So I've got a really nice way of now carrying one device around, but having 2 separate identities. And the really cool thing is that the business line is controlled by the Teams administrator. So they can turn off me getting calls at the weekend or the evening. Or actually the number that I can present can be a centralized number, a service number. So when people call back, it can go to a contact center. So it's a really cool way of now having one phone with multiple identities.
Yeah, because I always said to all my employers, no, I just want to keep my own phone because I don't want to have 2 phones to carry around. But this is awesome. I just moved providers last week, and I still have to get out the little SIM card and try to slot that in, and yeah.
But Orange are now doing eSIMs. They've been doing them for a long, long time. I can't remember the last time I had a SIM card on my phone. I mean, I guess I'm probably 2-3 years into this phone, and they just did it by software. So, but I think it's a cool idea. But my question is, can you have multiple eSIMs on a card then? So can I have 2 or 3? Is there like a magic number? No more than 700 lines of phone, or?
I don't know what the magic number is, but I know on my phone, and mine, I haven't got the latest iPhone, I can have up to 10 eSIMs installed. Now, I can only use one of the eSIMs at a time,
No, I get that. And the eSIMs are also provide a digital channel as well as a voice channel, though, don't they?
Yeah. We provide full mobile service. Downloading the eSIM, it gives you voice and data, all the services you'd get with a traditional service.
Even if you're actually on a good old solid call, you could still be looking at the screen share that is coming through, and it's not affecting your voice call.
Exactly.
It's not combining the digital service. So how many billionaires are there in Tango? Because this sounds like such a cool idea that everybody must be buying it. I mean, is it an easy sell?
It's a fairly easy sell. My job is fairly easy. I've got to say that. We've got a great ecosystem of channel partners that we work with to sell this. And these are the guys that are typically selling the connectivity to Teams. So the guys that are providing operator connect and direct routing, it's a natural sell for those guys. We're already providing your numbers, Mr. Customer. We're already providing your PSTN connectivity. let's give you the easiest way to make and receive a call. So yeah, we've got a great ecosystem of channel partners out there, which is growing and growing. And the company's doing really well. We're expanding. My team's expanding. I look after sales and marketing, and we're actively recruiting. So it's good times for us. It's good times for Teams Phone users as well.
Awesome.
So what are all the bits and bobs that I need if I want to enable this? Let's say,
but let's do that in 30 seconds, Lee. But maybe what they need
do it
to
quickly.
do is to go and talk to them at Commsverse and find out. But
come
give
and see us at Commsverse is the main thing. But what do you need? You need a Teams Phone account, you need a Teams Phone license, and you need a Teams Phone number. Once you've got that, you can add our service onto it.
Yeah.
So talking about Commsverse and your booth at the conference, what can people see at there? Can they try things on, or what are you guys going to do?
You can come along to
the biggest question is, what's the swag that you're bringing?
We're giving away some free subscriptions to our service is the key thing. So you can come along, and every day you can win a free subscription to our service. We're also allowing people to come along and sign up for a free trial. So if they want to come along and sign up for a free 30-day trial, they can come and do that. And there's some goodies to put in your swag bag as well. So
neat.
All right.
Neat.
Cool.
So you've obviously been to Mercedes World before and you like it. So have you done the cars?
No, I was there last week, but we were so busy. We actually launched our Microsoft service at the event last year. So I was so busy that I didn't get a chance to even step outside the venue and do the cars. This year, we've got a bigger team going. When they did the fire alarm, yeah, I did stand outside with everybody else.
We all had to come out for then. I keep giving people advice because Marijn and I did it the first year and we had so much fun. And when Marijn's not on the call, I do tell everybody the story about how he was asked to move to one side so that I could get past. Okay, that's a great regular story I tell everybody. But I can only advise that you book it and be done with it. That way you're not going to get it moved, but it is a worthy experience to actually do to be able to drive those circuits and things. That's pretty.
I got told. I think a couple of partners were giving away what they call fast laps last year, and I didn't get a chance. But hopefully this time we've got a bigger booth, we've got a bigger team, so I'll at least find myself half an hour to go out and enjoy the cars for a little bit.
Yeah. Book the half-an-hour run. It's really quite good. The straight line and the track and that bloody oil pan. I might have another go at it this year. I'm 2 years on. I'm a more experienced driver. I might be able to make it work. It's bloody difficult, but good fun. All right, cool, Lee. I really enjoyed that. Anybody else got any follow-up questions? I know that we're going to go on the stand because I can see Marijn going, my train drivers. I can already see that already. And
I already have like a few customers that I
I think that's pretty cool. So when you hit Belgium, you need to give us a call. So I think that would be
we'll be in Belgium by the end of June. So Netherlands, it's not in the next 10, but certainly we have active conversations going in Netherlands. So I'm very confident we'll be in the Netherlands by the end of the year.
All right.
So when we are coming back from Commsverse, they are in Belgium.
Yes.
We can take all your stuff to Belgium if you want.
Give us a few cards. We'll just carry them in for you. Yeah, we'll drive them in.
Well, hopefully you guys, you'll be the advocates going back to Belgium for us.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, actually, this has been a pretty interesting recording. I have to say I learned something new. And I was kind of surprised, which was very neat. I read through the website earlier today and thought, I wonder if that's how they do it. And I assumed it was a digital service. You were basically using IP to do this, but it's really cool that you're not actually. It's good old-fashioned voice service, prioritized voice. Neat. Good use of the background. Good. So, Lee, what we normally do here is I'm going to, as we all say goodbye, you get the final word. So I think it's, I will give you 6 words. So think about 6 words as to why people should come to the Tango stand at Commsverse. Any 6 words. And we do that. Marijn, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
Cool. Annouck.
Goodbye, everyone.
And it's a goodbye from me. And over to you, sir.
So I'm going to say, come and see us, and you'll see something really cool. So that's it.